This is Good Morning Albany, a motivational podcast to get your wheels turning. You're here with Shalem Love, a very sought-after wedding and portrait photographer. I'll be sitting down with creatives to discuss their process, their experience, and how to make a difference. What's going on, Will?
Good, man. What's going on with you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
So the barbershop is a staple in every community all across America. Boys turn to men right in those same barber chairs. Today, we have a special guest, Aybar Will of Wills Barbershop, located at
444 Delaware Avenue, Albany, New York.
Make sure you guys check that out. It's right on the corner of Delaware and 2nd Ave. But I've gotten to know you a little bit over this past summer, over this past year. When I first got introduced to you, I'm just looking like, oh, that's just another barber right there. And then as I got to know you as an individual, I seen how much you go through just to run like a barbershop and your other businesses and your family. And I just want to say you're doing a great job, man.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you very much, brother.
But that's just from me. That's my personal experience. Let the listeners know a little bit about you.
I'm a Hispanic kid from the streets of the Bronx. I grew up in the Bronx. I was raised by two women, my grandmother and my mother, and grew up without a father. Teenage years was kind of rough. Turned to the streets because I didn't have a male figure in my life. And so got to some trouble. Ended up going to jail. Things wasn't going as planned. And so, me sitting in that jail cell, I realized, you know what, this life, it's really not what I want in life. And so when I got out, I really determined my life and say, hey, I got to do something different. So it went from there, and then it was just a roller coaster up and down.
Like, that's great. That's an amazing success story. But what was the turning point that made you say, this life isn't for me?
To be honest, man, the turning point was one time I was in Pennsylvania, and I was out there with my best friend, and we was out there doing the wrong things. I was sitting down on the couch, and I was just telling myself, there's got to be another way in life. There's got to be something else. There's got to be more. And, I got a phone call from my mother, and she says, hey, son, I want you to come home, because prior to that, I was gone for months and months without seeing my mother. When I came home, she invited me to church, and I sat right in the back, like everybody who's new that comes in sits in the back, and right there, man, I believe God touched my life and told me that he's calling me for a bigger calling and a bigger purpose in this life. So I say that was the starting point of the change in my life.
That's amazing. So if that was a turning point, how old were you?
I was about 18 or 19 years old.
Okay, so if you're 18 or 19, you're still a young kid.
Correct.
That's an amazing decision to make at that young of age.
Yeah.
So from there, when did you want to become a barber?
I've always was intrigued with barbering. I always loved the atmosphere in the barbershops. Every time, I had a chance, I would go into barbershops and just hang out without even getting a haircut. And there I always loved the smell of the barbershop, the talk of the barbershop, and also, the atmosphere of everybody in there was always a family atmosphere. And I said, man, I love this. And I was, everywhere you see me, it was always in the shop, So from a young age, I could just remember my mom taking me to the barbershop and me just loving it. And then as I was getting older and older, I'll take myself to the barbershops. And there was times that I just spend hours and hours in those barbershops. And I'm thankful for those men in there that just didn't kick me out. They just let me hang. So absolutely, man, it's since I was a youth.
Did you graduate from high school?
I did not. I dropped out. I got in trouble and I got arrested when I was in 9th grade. And when I came out, I tried to go back, and then I got rearrested again. And so, graduation high school was very tough for me, but I did get my GED at the age of 27.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I asked, did you graduate? Because I just want to see your educational background. For you to have minimal educational background and then have successful businesses.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Sometimes I don't know myself, and that's a good question. but I don't have the type of answer you're looking for, so I'm gonna try my best. I think and I believe that God has placed some good people around me, men that guided me the right way. With their guidance and God in front, I'm doing it. Don't know how.
I just want to dive in on the business side, because I want the listeners to know, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
You have someone that didn't graduate, that got their GED late, and still had the drive, still had the knowledge, still have the determination to learn. There may be someone listening that wants to start a barbershop or wants to be a barber.
Yeah.
What would you say to a young kid that wants to be a barber?
I say go for it, man. I was one of those kids that started cutting hair just as a hobby, something that I just like to do, and I started getting good. I started working in the barbershop down in New York City, and so when I moved up to Albany, I started at True Images Barbershop. It's 262 Washington Avenue, and I was there for 5 years, and I appreciate the time and you know, that John Wafer, which is the owner, he gave me, and the opportunity, and I've learned so much there. But I always had the drive to own my own business. It was always a dream of mine, a goal of mine, and I knew that one day it was gonna come. And so I tell those young people that wanna open up a business and think they can't do it, you can do anything you put your mind to do. You can do it. I did it the old-fashioned way. My brother, I saved my money, I budgeted, and when I had enough money, I went over, found a place, found some used stuff, and I went over and I opened up the barbershop in faith, not knowing that people was gonna follow me, not knowing what was gonna happen. But if you want to open up a business, you got to be willing to take risks.
Like, your story is like one for the record books. You know what I mean? It's like the American dream.
Yeah.
Everyone has these opportunities, but not everyone takes them. For you to take that step, to take that risk, that's big, and it paid off.
Correct.
Big risk, big reward.
Correct.
So when you're working at True Images, you're just like a student of the game. You're just learning and learning and learning.
Yes.
I mean, like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, John, one of the best business owners that I've known. He's been in business since 1996, something like that. You know, I love the way he ran his business. Some of the things he did, I kept. Some of the things that he did that I thought was for me and fit my personality and my character, I kind of like pushed to the side. But I learned so much in those 5 years that I was there. And so I just, you know, I run my business, and 50% of my business is ran the way John runs True Images. You know, just consistency and knowing that it's a business. It's not just, you know, a lot of people see barbershops as just like a hangout. It's that too. Yeah. But it's a business, and so we are consistent. We are prompt with our time, and you know, we're there, and you know, we're there to provide a service.
That's great. I just want to get back to you working in the barbershop and not looking at it as just a job, but an opportunity.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, opportunity is all around us.
Yes.
We have to take the initiative to meet that opportunity when it presents itself.
Yes.
So you having that aspiration of one of your own,
yep.
I just want the listeners to know the job that you're working now can be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
It isn't the end all be all. Will is like, he's showing you like it's possible.
Yeah.
So you worked in a barbershop.
Yeah.
And then you started your own barbershop. Is the owner of True Images still your friend?
Absolutely.
When you said, you know, listen, man, I'm going to go and try my own thing, was there any support and love there?
Yeah. I mean, it's always a bittersweet situation. You know, when you tell somebody, you know, you're leaving for a good reason, you know, you're happy for them, but at the same time, you're sad.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a little bit of both. But he understood that I had to go doing my own thing. So, absolutely, man, absolutely. But to answer your question about taking advantage of the opportunities, what the mistake is for a lot of people is that they wait for the opportunity in order for them to get ready. And when the opportunity presents themselves, they're not ready. Mm-hmm. And so an opportunity will pass by.
Exactly.
I knew an opportunity was coming for me. I knew it from the first day I started at True Images. I remember telling myself, Will, you have to be ready. So when it comes, You won't miss this opportunity. I took all 5 years, and I was ready. And 2 years in working, I was ready.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the right time. And so I heard somebody say, if you always ready, you don't have to get ready.
So that 5 years is a long time. Like, I talk to people daily, and we go over business tips and stuff like that, and they just want to go from 0 to 100 and skip 1 to 99.
Correct.
And that's like impossible.
No.
So you taking that 5 years is huge to see that far out into the future.
Yeah.
So I just want the listeners to know, like, I keep going back to this, like, it's possible.
Yeah.
You just have to prepare yourself. Like, moving on, how do you manage staff? How do you deal with like all the personalities, for one?
Yep.
And two, how do you deal with someone that may want to leave?
So answer number one is, I'm very careful on who I bring in the shop, because atmosphere is very important to me when it comes to the barbershop. And so thank God that God has blessed me in such a big way. I've had some great guys come in and out of that barbershop, like Macho. Macho was with me for 7 years, and now he's cutting hair in Florida. He texts me all the time and goes, "Thank you so much," because I taught Macho from scratch. A guy like Jonathan, he was with me from the beginning, from the moment that we started. He was with me for 9 years, and now he's in Florida and he has his own shop out there. And so I think the most important thing is understanding that you got to have a great staff.
Yeah.
And the guys that I have in the shop, man, they're not only a great staff and great guys, but it's like family in there. And so it makes it a lot easy for me as a business owner to run a business when you have guys that understand that we have one goal, and we understand why we're there. Secondly, if there's a guy that wants to open up a shop, one of my guys, one of the things, if they want my help, I'm willing to give them the help. And two, I'm gonna push him, man. I'm gonna push him to open that up. You know why? Because I needed somebody to push me.
Yep.
And so I will back them up financially. I will back them up any way they need me to back them up. Because it's just a thing. It's just what we have to do, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not about competition, like you said. It's about furthering somebody else to feed their family. And if that's his ambition and that's his goal and that's his dreams, if I can be a part of that to push him to it, man, 100%.
I mean, that's great.
100%.
That's great that you're pushing these individuals to be better versions of themselves.
Correct.
When you're working and you have your own business, how many hours do you put in a week?
Barbering is a lot of hours, man. So, we open 5 days a week. Some barbershops open 7 days a week. I truly believe that everybody needs a day of rest, or maybe 2. As for us, we up on our feet all day, so I'm mandatory saying Sunday and Monday off, for you to be with your family. But we put about 50 to 60 hours a week just on, cutting hair.
So putting those 50, 60 hours in, how do you manage home?
That's a good question. Managing home is always, a lot of people don't know, man. My wife plays a big role in my family, in my home, and if it wasn't for her, I won't be half the man that I am. She picks up a lot of slack. It's this word that I've learned throughout these years, and it's called balance.
Yep.
And where you have to work to provide for your family, but at the same time, money is not everything.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that you can't make all the money in the world, and I've learned that family is the most important thing you can have.
Yeah.
And so I delegate, and I make sure that I balance work and any other thing with family. And so my core values are God first, family second, church, business. So those are my core values. Is if my relationship with God isn't right, then nothing else is gonna be right. So I gotta make sure my relationship with God is right. I gotta make sure home is right. If home ain't right, nothing else is gonna work out. So once home is right, business, church is gonna be good, and then my businesses, everything flows, and it's just a fruition with everything.
Okay, that's great.
If my kids have a game, which I don't miss games, and you know, one thing you can never get back in life is time. Could always get money, could always get anything else, but you can never get time. I try to make every game as possible. My boys has been playing basketball a long time, and I think I can count in my hands how many times I've missed games. So I make sure I put the time in with the family. Once I put the time in with the family, everything else gets the time that it needs, but it's got to be first family, man.
You have 2 more tricks up your sleeve that I know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You may have a lot more, but I only know 2 more. One is that you run a successful basketball academy camp.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And the second one that I found out as I was filming and taking pictures at one of your camps is that you're a pastor.
Yes, I am. Yeah, you missed one.
You see, I knew it. You see what I'm saying?
You missed one. So I'm also a AAU coach.
See
you know, I run the program New York Havoc, and so I wear many hats, man. I wear many hats, but you know what? I believe that this is the purpose in my life, and this is what God has called me to do. I mean, sometimes I look back and I say, man, I don't know how I'm juggling, but I'm juggling, and everything is done to 100%, and everything is going well.
So, you got your early childhood, you know what I mean? You're being a kid, you're getting into trouble.
Yep.
Okay, you come back, your mom takes you to church.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You find God. Then you go and you work in a barbershop for 5 years.
Yep.
You meet a lot of people. Then you start your own business, your own barbershop, right?
Yep.
And then you start coaching your boys because they're into basketball.
Correct.
All right. Now you have a basketball academy. You're a coach over here. You're a pastor and a family man. That's like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, if you can say anything to anyone listening that started out like you, that may want to finish like you, like, what would you say?
My core values always come into play. It's got to be God first, family, church, and then everything else after that. And so as of right now, I'm running a business, but the business is ran without me. I'm thankful for the staff that I have. Like I said, man, my little brother, you know, he's matured in so many ways. I'm so proud of him. Man, if you're listening to this, Luch, man, I love you, man. You know, I got another guy, Rennie, old school Puerto Rican guy, man. And you know, Hector, he's a youth pastor. You know, Israel and Cam, you know, in Orlando. The barbershop is ran, is when I'm not there, it's though like if I'm there. So I got so much peace in my heart that I don't really have to be there. Secondly, I'm a pastor, and I believe God has called me to do ministry and to influence people's lives. That's why I was born. That's why I'm here on this earth, is to make a difference in someone's life. If it's one person, it's worth it to me. And then the basketball academy is just a gateway of continuing to touch people's lives, because you can teach so much, so many life lessons through this simple game of basketball. The AAU program I decided to do because I wanted to give kids an opportunity and teach them the value of what basketball can give you. And that's a chance to go to college. Either for free or half, no matter what. The priority is to go to college, and I just wanted to give these kids the insight and an opportunity to go to college and play basketball.
We covered the business of the barbering. Now, the basketball side of it all, like, why did you start the academy? Why did you start, like, coaching?
Well, I've noticed that, you know, basketball and coaching, it's just like running a business, and at the same time, it's just like pastoring, because you're influencing people's lives. So I love the basketball academy because I love to teach, and so so many kids want to learn, and they don't have a place to go. And so I started the basketball academy because I wanted to teach kids how to play basketball the right way. And so, you know, that's just been a blessing. But I started the AAU program because I did a study on males or men in society, period. And I seeing how the need was for us, or even in this earth, for men to step up and be men and grow up to be men. I did a study, and the study indicated that boys that grew up without a father or a father figure or a male figure, they were more likely to drop out of high school. They were more likely to get on drugs, to be alcoholic. There are more males that are in jail than there are women. There are more males that are on drugs or in the streets than there are women. There are more women in college than there are men. There are more males killed accidentally than there are women. When I started reading this, it really bothered me, because a male figure is so important in someone's life, especially a boy. And so God really moved in my heart to be an influence in these young boys' life and to teach them what it is to be a man, because through the game of basketball, I teach so many lessons. You teach about integrity. You teach about character, about morals. You teach about failure and how to respond to failure. You teach about how to face adversity and what the positive way to face adversity. You teach about when someone falls, what do? You get back up and you keep running. You teach them so many life lessons. You teach them about being unselfish, because they gotta share with the rest of the teammates. You teach so many aspects of life through this game of basketball. And so I took coaching because I wanted to reach young boys and young men and teach them how to be men and be that influence in their lives, that if I can do it, you can do it. Most importantly, you have to take care of school. That's one of the biggest things we teach, or we emphasize and we preach in our AAU program, that if your grades aren't right, you're not gonna get on the basketball court. Secondly, we teach that once you graduate high school, automatically you go to college. There's not a thought in your head that's saying, I'm gonna take a year off or college ain't for me. No, we want you to go to college. You should go to college because it's very important with your future. And thirdly, we teach about having good morals, saying thank you, standing up when somebody needs a chair and they're older than you, holding the door for somebody, just the simple things in life that they'll value as they get older. And it's not just about basketball for me.
Yeah.
It's about changing young men's lives forever. Whether they succeed, that's not my decision. It's about me pouring into them as much as I can now. And hopefully, whatever is implemented in their lives, they can take it and they can be men and grow up to be men that are respectful, that loves people, and that have good morals. And most importantly, the number one reason is Jesus Christ, man. He changed my life and he empowered me to be who I am today. And so I try to implement, I don't force it, but I try to implement through my everyday living, the way I speak, the way I love, the way I communicate, is to teach them that without Jesus, nothing is possible.
Exactly. Growing up without a father figure is huge in a male's life. I understand that. For you to take on that role is like amazing. You know what I mean? That's like a great calling. That's like a great thing that you're doing. And a lot of people need it.
Yeah.
And I see that you emphasize college.
Correct.
Last week I had Jahari Coleman on here, and she goes to UAlbany. Yeah. And I asked her, how does she feel about the state of education now?
Yeah.
Do you think one needs to go to college in order to be successful?
Yeah.
So now, when I sit here with you, I want to ask the same question, but I kind of already see like where you're coming from with it.
Yeah.
Like, I come from a poverty-stricken neighborhood where college may have changed someone's life just by getting them out of that environment.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So how do you feel about the state of education? Do you feel it's necessary to go to college in order to be successful?
I don't feel it's necessary to be successful. I just think it opens up doors. It gives you an education. It gives you opportunities for job. It gives you job opportunities. 2, when you go to college, you network you meet so many people, and you just never know who's gonna be who. Yes, I emphasize in college, and I don't think you need it in order to be successful per se, but yes, you need it to be successful. And the reason why I say this is because jobs are getting harder and harder to obtain. And an associate's today is like a high school diploma yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I emphasize college. My children, my kids, I have a daughter that's gonna graduate this year from Oswego. I've embedded in them that once they graduate college, automatically high school, automatically you go to college.
Yeah.
So that's all they know. That's all they've been taught. That's all they've heard.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, growing up, never heard college.
Never.
Never heard college. Never heard finish high school. Just what it was. And in the community that I lived in, it was more dropouts than it were graduates.
Yeah.
And we see that plaguing our inner cities today. That 50% of high school kids in our inner cities are not graduating.
Yeah.
So where are they going? To the street.
To the streets, yeah.
Because that's where I went. And so if they're not going to college, they're going to the street. And in the street, it's all bad.
Yeah, it's all bad.
And so if we can reach out to some of these people and tell them, listen, the road that you're going to go to, I've been there. It leads to destruction, right? Get into the road of college because it leads to life. Yep. It leads to opportunities. It leads to so many things. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, I emphasize college is a must.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm getting, because like the kids in the inner cities that don't go to college, they go to the streets, and college is an escape.
Yeah.
It's a whole different experience. You know what I mean? You meet different people, you network, you get your education, and it just prepares you for life.
Correct. I'm about to be 40 in 3 months.
Okay.
Right? But listen to me. I feel like I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like the energy that I feel every day, the excitement that I have from an everyday basis is just amazing, that I just want to touch people's lives.
Yeah.
I read an article this morning about a young man in Colony, and he got interviewed after the game, and they asked him, who's the most influential guy in your life? And the last person I would have thought it would have been me, but he said it's the most influential guy in my life is Will Aybar. And he's like, why? He goes, because when I was in 5th grade, he cut me from the travel team.
Yeah.
And the reason why, he said I was not good enough. He said I needed to get in the gym and get better. And in my 7th grade year, I came back and I made the team. Not only I made the team, but I started for him. And Will Aybar has been the most influential guy in my life. And I'm just being me.
Yeah.
Like, outside of basketball, I'm just making sure this kid is making sure he's signing up applications for colleges because he's a senior. Have you done that? No, you better get to it. Get applications, do this, apply for this school. Because, you just never know who you're gonna touch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is that I'm gonna continue to do what I do and to touch people's lives, and hopefully somebody catches it.
I mean, that's great, man. I mean, you do a lot, you wear a lot of hats, you know what I mean? And you're just here for the people, and I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, this was great. Thank you for coming in. You know what I mean? I can't wait to chop it up and edit it and see how it comes out. And I really don't have an outro yet.
Yep.
I just like usually laugh and say I'm out of here, so.
Gotcha.
I'm out of here.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and it was a great pleasure, man. I want to give a few shout-outs, man, if that's all right, man.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I want to give a shout-out to my boy, Terrence Florence T-Flow, for giving me the opportunity of running the boys program.
Yeah.
He does the girls program, does a great job. If you have a daughter that needs an AAU program, this guy gets people into college, and I want to give him a big shout-out. Also, I want to give a big shout-out to Wills Barbershop. and the staff. Also, I want to give a shout out to Wills Barbershop. They've influenced my life as well. And a couple AAU programs, man. I want to give a shout out to 518 Elite Quinny. You guys are doing a tremendous job because they're reaching the inner city kids and they're giving them a platform in order to perform and have a chance to go to college. So 518 Elite, I want to Legacy Lions, For Family, all these people, man, that are doing what I'm doing, and touching young boys and young girls all over the community. So I just wanted to give you guys a shout out, man, and let you know, man, that your work is valued.
Man, shout out to all you guys, man. You guys are doing a lot in the community. We see you, we appreciate you, and continue to do what you're doing, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, brother.
I will.
All right, sir.